Well, if you're in the tourism and hospitality business, you have to be resilient, because since 2001, we've either been in decline or recovery 50% of the time.
Halifax and Nova Scotia, I think, are on the... We have been discovered, but there's still so much more opportunity for us.
Welcome to Place, the Tourism Industry Association of Nova Scotia's podcast. Our industry is worth $3.2 billion annually and employs over 50,000 Nova Scotians. So this podcast is designed to talk about tourism and the issues and topics that matter. Each episode, we will explore conversations that demonstrate the interconnectivity between tourism and the social, cultural, environmental health of the province. There is no place like Nova Scotia, and we want to ensure every Nova Scotia community benefits from the positive impacts that only tourism can bring.
Everybody's excited about the future and being able to put additional new exciting products for guests to enjoy when they're visiting Nova Scotia.
For the Nova Scotia tourism industry to reach its full economic potential, we need to extend visitation. In this episode, we are going to explore building the Nova Scotia tourism industry to 365. This means expanding the shoulder season and four-season product development. The definition of shoulder typically means the period of time between a region's peak season and off-season. But as you'll hear, operators in Nova Scotia are ripping up the rulebook.
Well, I think the diversity of the industry is what really interests me. Every day is so different because in a position like mine, there are so many disciplines that you have to be involved in. It could be sales and marketing, it could be financing, it could be construction.
This is Glenn Squires. He's the CEO of Packram Hospitality Services.
We develop, own, and operate hotels in Canada and the United States. We have 4 properties in Nova Scotia, one in Amherst, one in Truro, one in Yarmouth, and one in Digby. For those that are inclined to operate year-round, because I do understand there are people in the industry that work seasonally because it's a lifestyle choice and they go south in the winter or whatever. But many of us in the industry, probably June through October, we make money. And then the rest of the year, we struggle to break even or give it back. The most concrete example I can use is the Digby Pines, which if we close it in the winter, would cost us about $1.5 million to keep closed. In my business, $100,000 in profit in Digby adds about $1 million in value to the hotel. So if over the course of 4 or 5 years, I can eliminate that $1.5 million loss, I've just added $15 million in value to my property. I'm able to use that to finance more improvements and that kind of stuff. And of course, at the end of the day, I'm hiring more people. The company is making more money. So it's just a far better business model if you can do it successfully.
Traditionally, the almost century-old Digby Pines Golf Resort and Spa closed during the winter months. So to establish itself as an all-year-round resort took big investment.
Well, the biggest thing that we had to do is we had to put a system in that could heat the building because the building wasn't heated. So every October, November, they had to drain all the water and everything. So the biggest investment was $3.5 million to put in a new heating and ventilation system, change the roof and all of that kind of stuff. The main thing from an offering perspective is you have to program your business. In other words, we have to have a lot of events. We have to create our own activity. We have to get the word out in the marketplace that we're open. I think in Digby, our pool is outside. The first piece of infrastructure I would add for winter business is the indoor pool, no question about it. We find with our other hotels that we have indoor pools and water slides, and we're full in the winter on the weekends all the time.
Packram Hospitality Services isn't the only operator changing their approach to the shoulder season.
There used to be years where we would, travelers would just drop in the afternoon and say, do you have a room for the night? And that doesn't happen anymore. Everyone's using technology to make reservations ahead of time and really plan out their trip.
This is Scott McCauley. He's the owner of the Inverary Resort in Bedeque, Cape Breton.
Yeah, it's 125 bedrooms or guest rooms on about 12-acre site. We're right on the Bredor Lakes in the village of Bedeque. I've been in the business since it's been a family business since the early 70s. Pleased to say that my son is in the going to be carrying on the business, as for me. So, yeah, so that's always a good thing to have happen.
For Scott and his team, opportunities in the shoulder season meant looking closer to home in the community around them.
Our biggest innovation in the last number of years is to try to continue to develop the winter season. Ever since we got in the business, is that we do participate in a lot of the community events. Utilizing our facilities for community events. We have wonderful conference facilities and breakout rooms, and we really invite the community to use boardrooms to put some some degree of business sense into some of these local groups.
And for Glenn from Packram Hospitality Services, there are opportunities with niche groups.
We do a lot of entertainment. Early January, we have 2 nights of comedians. We have a murder mystery with the Annapolis Theatre Festival. We have an event, we create an event with knitters. So we do that 3 or 4 times a year. The person that leads it has written 3 or 4 books on knitting. So now, as soon as she puts the Digby Pines event up, it's sold out. We have to build, right? We knew that it would take us in Digby 4 to 5 years to really probably start making some money.
And at Digby Pines, they've also looked to the wider community for new partnership opportunities.
Our partner is Bear River First Nation. We do a tremendous amount of Indigenous meeting business. Last year, we had one of the regional Nova Scotia Indigenous Tourism Network midwinter feasts. Last February, we hosted the Black Heritage Dinner. Normally they had 40 people. We sold out 250 people. We're turning that into a weekend event with Black Nova Scotia Entertainment. We've got a big Acadian kitchen party event.
For Glenn, succeeding in the shoulder season means having a plan.
So basically, it's having a strategy that capitalizes on international tourism when global conditions are right, but it's also having a strong program within the domestic and more regional and local market.
And it's not just tourists visiting the province. Plenty of people come here for work too. And that presents a whole new world of opportunity.
It's so amazing when we're hosting, especially when we're hosting a large national convention, because we get to welcome people from all over the world. And I believe that Halifax and Nova Scotia is the right place for all of those people to be. There is no more welcoming place than here.
This is Dawn Baldwin. She's the Director of Sales at the Halifax Convention Centre. And from her perspective, any time of year is the perfect time to have a conference here.
I have the pleasure of leading our sales team and booking, myself and my team, we book all of the events that happen at the Halifax Convention Centre. On any given day, we can have one large convention happening in the building or multiple events happening on different levels. It's just a hub of activity, and we've seen our season extend. So it's not just in those peak times anymore of when people want to come to Nova Scotia, which is the traditional May, June, September, October. We now see people starting to come to Halifax in end of March into April, all the way through to the end of November, which is great because it makes our building so much busier throughout the year, which is wonderful.
And those who come to Halifax for a conference don't typically just stay for the meetings and presentations. They increasingly come here for more.
Especially when it's an international event. I don't know that people would travel all that way, come for a 2.5-day conference, and then head back to wherever it is they came from. We attract business travelers who become tourists while they're here. And we hear that from our clients, but also from their delegates who are talking about when they come here, they feel like they're welcome. They feel like people care about them. They want to get to know them. And so it's such a great opportunity. And we also host so many different types of events. We do a lot of ocean science events. We do a ton of life sciences. So anything medical you can think of, we've hosted it, which is great because it exposes our city to so many different people who are leaders in their fields around the world, but they're coming to Halifax for a reason, which is we have that local expertise here as well. So it's such a wonderful opportunity.
Well, I think, with 60 different sports that would operate just within Sport Nova Scotia, there is no shoulder season for sport. So sport is going on constantly. All of those different organizations and their community organizations have events that go on all the time. And I'm Jamie Ferguson, and I'm the CEO of Sport Nova Scotia. So there are always things happening all across the province in all kinds of different places. And I think that this is a good opportunity kind of for people to maybe take stock of what types of facilities that they might have in their communities that would help them make connects to have some of these events take place. So you don't have to make huge infrastructure investments. I mean, if you have a gymnasium, you can have events. If you have a pool, you can have events. If you have a rink, you can have events. If you have a soccer field, you can have events. And those facilities can host multiple different types of events. So, even a gymnasium, you might have pickleball, you might have goalball, you might have badminton, you might have volleyball, you might have basketball. So there's a lot of different ways that some of these places can look to say, okay, if these are happening all the time, if there's like more than 1,000 of these events happening every year, what's a good way to make some connects and see if there are some that might make sense for our community? Absolutely. I mean, sport, especially community sport, has a big impact on the economy because it generates spending. So, sport in itself has a great economic impact at the community level. Everything from stores, buying of equipment, renting of facilities, all those types of things. Sport has a decent sized role to play in economic development for communities across the province. There's lots of ways that you can piggyback on these types of things and build them out with other opportunities that come along with them, for sure.
There are huge advantages when tourism operators innovate and completely change the definition of an off-season.
Well, it's a big impact. I mean, in Digby, our opening year-round, it's probably $250,000 a month in payroll and another $300,000 to $500,000 a month in goods and services. So if you take November, December, January, February, March, April, that's 6 months. That's $800,000 a month at a multiplier of 3 for the tourism. That's 2.4 times 6. That's $15 million in economic spin-off to Digby.
It allows everyone in the tourism community the opportunity to capitalize on new developments and new ventures.
A lot of good things happening in Cape Breton as well. I mean, this new trail that's up in the northern part of Cape Breton is phenomenal. It's a world-class hiking trail. What they're doing at Cape Smoky with, they're going to start making snow 1st of January or 1st of December. So, those are really, big things to happen in Cape Breton. So, we look to be part of the package, I guess.
And these shoulder season offerings are building momentum as word gets out to the rest of the world.
We're working so far in the future. We're looking out to 25, 26, 27, and really building up that book of business. And what we're finding is people are interested in Halifax. They want to come to Nova Scotia. They want that experience. And we're competing with some of the biggest cities in the country, and we're being successful there because I do think we offer something that's a little different than what they offer. So the future is bright. It's exciting. We're looking forward to it. And we feel like we're just getting started. So I wanted to talk about the local program because it's something that's really, really important to us, and we're really proud of it. And we've put a lot of work into it, and we're proud of the partners that have been able to join us on that journey. And our clients are responding so positively to it, which makes us feel so great.
Thank you for listening to Place, the Tourism Industry Association of Nova Scotia's podcast. If you'd like to learn more about the work we do to support, promote, and celebrate our tourism industry, please visit tians.org.